What the financial record should look like within the church.
If we have churches here who are interested in getting financing from the bank, we'll talk about what the bank is going to look for in your financials. What you should be looking for if you are a trustee or the pastor when your financial secretary brings you your financial report, what you should be looking at. Accounting for contributions. Most churches do this well, but there have been some recent changes in the requirements on how we make sure we get the tax deduction for our contributions that we give to the church. Worker classification, this continues to be a very, very gray area. So I want to make sure that we understand that we are at least making an attempt to be in compliance. And what we need to do, even if we find that we're out of compliance and we get challenged by the IRS, what we need to have in our files to make sure we can still be victorious over any IRS inquiry. Housing allowance, the best tax tip out there for a member of the clergy. I wish I could receive all of my wages in the form of a housing allowance. There are ways where you can get all of your housing allowance 100% tax-free. So this would be a good topic for it. And then we'll talk about clergy taxes. And we'll walk through an example of those who would prepare the same tax return under an informed system and under an uninformed system. And you'll see clearly the difference in the taxes that you would pay. And then the church employee business expense, as I showed you earlier, the organization chart between a corporation and a church, very similar. The titles may be different, but the business is pretty much the same. So we'll talk about the business expenses. And you'll see that there's an expense report, and that's another way. So those church members who refuse to turn it in, at the end of the year, give them a 1099. That's what you're supposed to do because it's taxable income. And then the clergy compensation package. This is where it all starts, to make sure that we initially set up our pastor's compensation package so that we can help the pastor minimize his taxes come tax time. And then we'll talk a little bit about payroll taxes. This area is the biggest area that allows the IRS into your church. If your payroll taxes are not being processed properly, you will literally open the door and let Uncle Sam in, where otherwise he may not have been able to get in. So we'll spend a little bit of time on that. And then the tax exempt status. Are churches required to apply for this? We'll discuss it. The answer I'm going to give you is directly out of the Internal Revenue.